Platt, is
Hi.
it okay? What? What? Wait, Courtney Platt, is it okay for me to fangirl on my own podcast? Do I have permission to just tell you, holy wow, I have been such a fan of yours for, has it been a decade? Like, when did you do?
Like a bazillion years. First of all, thanks.
Oh, God, thank you for your work.
Season 4, it was like 2008. Yeah, 2007. So yeah.
No way.
It's been a minute.
It's been more than a decade.
Yeah.
So I had the great pleasure of working with your husband, Jonah, doing some Jewish advocacy work, which was really profound. But honestly, I press click on the follow button and I'm like, oh, let me just like learn a little bit about Jonah. Oh, what a beautiful family. Wait a second. Who is he married to? I did another clicksy poo and I died, Courtney. Because the truth is, after So You Think You Can Dance, I didn't see you. I followed your journey on that show like a crazy person. I loved every move you made.
Thank you.
I just think you are the most beautiful dancer. Your personality, your storytelling shines through in every moment. And I felt like I had reunited with an old friend when I found you, knowing that you're like married to this awesome guy. He really is awesome.
He's pretty great, yeah.
And these 2 beautiful children, and you've like built a whole second act of your life that I would love to get into. But before that, we have your bio. We always have everyone's bio right in the show notes. But I love to ask our guests, like, who are you today? Who is Courtney Platt today?
I mean, mom of 2.
Yeah.
Newly mom of 2. I have a little girl, Raquel. She will be 5 months very soon. Yeah, so I feel like I'm in like just hardcore mom mode. And I think all new moms are asking themselves the same question. Who the hell am I?
It's why I ask, actually.
Yeah, because it's interesting. It's like it's like all I ever really wanted to be. Like I love it. It's really hard. It's like a juggling act.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, just trying to, there are times like I've called my mom and I've been like, I don't understand how like you took care of 3 kids, you had a clean house, you had a happy husband, and you looked cute. Like, how'd you do that?
I honestly don't know. I have the same conversation with my mother. I'm like, I don't understand. You know, we would have Shabbat dinners every Friday night, and they'd be these like elaborate meals, like courses every Friday night. She worked, had 3 children.
Wild.
Literally, how? I genuinely am like, she's like, I don't know. I just did it. And it's like, whoa. You guys, you think too much about stuff, which is an interesting
definitely
take.
True. It's definitely true. And I definitely think like there's a lot of pressure on being like the perfect wife and the perfect mom and the perfect, and I think that's hard too. It's like, you mentioned I was a dancer. Like I go into a rehearsal room and I'd go and, and you try to be the best one there. You try to be like the LeBron of the rehearsal room, and you try to be.
And you were.
But it's like,
and you are.
That's very nice of you. It was a very amazing experience because I was just surrounded by like such insane talent. So it was so awesome and inspiring. But like motherhood isn't like that. Like it's like it is impossible to just be the best all the time. You have weak moments, and it's crazy.
But it's also outside of the paradigm of the best or the worst or the middle or it's like this nebulous zone of feeling and intuiting, and the moment passes and there's no camera there. I had one mentor who was like a parenting coach who once said like, film yourself while you're parenting. Sometimes that'll help you parent better and more mindfully because you'll feel like someone's watching. But the truth is, like, the moments really, they pass by. They're like, this is real life, you know?
Oh
It's
yeah.
not like anyone's documenting it, anyone's giving us
No.
grades. It's so outside of the paradigm that
Right.
we've grown up in, which was like, I go to school, they check the box that I've attended,
Right.
I take the test. It's like, it's so out of sync with what we've always understood, what progress looks like,
Sure.
what yeah, it's like, and also I also have two children, and my youngest is now nearly 4, which is as old as your oldest is.
Correct. Yes.
And I just want to say that you are really in the thick of that question, like, who is Courtney Platt today?
Totally. It's really,
Because you're reborn once, twice, 3
and again.
times.
Yeah. I even said, like, in this newborn phase with Raquel, my youngest, I said to Jonah, I like cried. I was like, part of me like wishes I desperately wish I could go back and do the newborn phase with Joey, because I just don't think I enjoyed it.
Mm.
To look, I could get like I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I should have, and savored the moments as much as I should have, and which I think, like, speaking to many moms, I feel like is incredibly normal.
Yeah.
It's like you just think back and you, like, there was a lot of, like, you don't trust yourself as much the first time. You
Yeah,
don't. Meanwhile, like, this time, I'm like, everybody get out of here. Like, I know
that's
what
right.
I'm doing. Like,
That's exactly what
um,
happened with me also, by the way.
yeah,
Exactly. I was like handing off my power, really. I
a
was handing off my
hundred
decision
percent.
making. I was
Right.
handing off my confidence, and I was handing off my baby. And
Right.
I because I was told that that was the right thing to do if you
Right.
can get a baby nurse, da, 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 which I think is helpful for a lot of people. But there were moments I didn't want to. I didn't
No,
want to, and I
totally.
wanted to do it my way. And but the
Yeah,
second I did, and it was redemptive on one end, and also there was mourning. There was a lot
a
of mourning
hundred
that happened
percent.
for me just around, like, not having just one child, like, missing him, just
Yeah,
missing the one baby, and also loving this new, it's like, it's
sure.
so complex and so layered,
Yeah.
and I don't think, I just wanna give you, like, a permission slip around that. That was your postpartum experience with your first, like, that
A hundred
that
percent.
that actually that is the beauty, that it was, like, messy, and that it was the first time, and that we're, like, learning these things together.
Totally.
I really
Totally.
feel like children come in, like, with a soul contract, even in their birth
Right.
order.
Right.
That little
Yeah.
Joey was, like, your teacher,
He
really.
totally was my teacher. I mean, I feel that way. My dad told me that all the time. My dad was like, even as I grew up to be a teenager, my dad used to be like, Courtney Ann, you weren't born with a manual. Like,
Yeah.
so everything you're doing for the first time, mommy and daddy are doing it for the first time too. So it's like have a little patience with us, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do wish I definitely, I do wish I enjoyed that more. And, like, even with, like, breastfeeding, like,
Oh,
oh my God,
oh
like,
my god.
there was so much pressure, and, like, the lactation consultant came in and, like, grabbed my boob and, like,
Yep.
put it in. And I'm like, did I just get, like, Me Too'd by the
A little
lactation
bit.
consultant? Like, I was like, it was just, like, such a traumatic experience.
I
Like,
had
I
the
remember,
same.
yeah, like, I remember Jonah being like, "Let's get the hell out of here because this is crazy." And, like,
Uh-huh.
I felt like a little bit of, like, a failure, like,
Nope.
and meanwhile, like, my pediatrician was awesome. She was like, "Listen, lady, no baby ever died from formula, okay?
Yeah.
Like, let's just, like, fed is best, and that's it."
You
But with
know.
Raquel, I actually loved it. And,
Mm,
I actually really loved it. It was a completely different experience because I was just like, I'm a feeder when I want. I don't
that's
need
right.
to, like, so I felt, I had a little bit more autonomy on, and, but I had to stop because I had to stop at a certain point because I had to go back. I have multiple sclerosis, so I had to go
Mhm.
back on my medication. So I was
Yeah.
like, damn it, universe. was like, but it was nice while it lasted. It really was the second time.
Courtney, I can't relate more. I mean, I don't have multiple sclerosis, and I didn't have to stop because of medication, but I had to stop because I was driving myself crazy. And
Totally.
I felt like, and maybe I wasn't. Maybe there were a lot of mommy bloggers and lactation consultants and perfectionistic standards that my body
Right.
couldn't meet. And I have like a thyroid condition and da, 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 da. I have like some health
Right.
stuff as well.
Right.
And I had always sort of thought my body was working against me. And with that breastfeeding
Totally.
experience, it was the same. And I have found a lot of healing in these conversations because
Me too.
out of the 100 women that I've spoken to, so many of us have had this experience with breastfeeding, and it was in the dark, all by ourselves, literally
Yeah.
trauma after trauma, someone shoving our boob into a baby's mouth, like, ow, that hurt, and whatever else, telling us that we're like feeding our kid McDonald's,
Yeah.
and
Like that was the
when they're
other thing.
it's literal medicine. It's literal
Right.
life-saving medicine.
Right. Right.
Um, and it's been 3.5 years since I have ended my breastfeeding journey, and the healing around that has taken such a long time. And I hope it doesn't take you that long. I hope you can really hear me and say, like, you are not alone, like, at all, at
For
all.
sure.
Something is amiss in the messaging around breastfeeding and our obsession with um, feeding our children perfectly and forgetting the mother completely.
Totally.
As if
I can
we have died and for them to be
like,
born. Wait, but
yeah.
we're both alive. We're living. We're like actually this one organism that's like,
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's just way too much pressure on women to it's enough to give birth as it is. And and also like I have a different personality. Like I know women who just like are cool with which I look at them and I literally think they're badasses. Like the women who could just whip it out and like
oh
put it in
yeah,
their kid's mouth and they're
yeah,
just like at a restaurant.
yeah.
I'm not, I don't have that in me. I wish I was like, but so it's just like, I felt like anytime I would have to do that. I'd have to go
Be
be by
home.
myself or like
Yeah,
be home and it's like, you spend 40 weeks like sacrificing your body. And here comes this like beautiful light at the end of the tunnel. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh damn, I'm still in it.
yes, yes.
So yeah, I wish there wasn't so much pressure around. Like I wish like sometimes, I don't with Joey, like I don't even think no one even asked me, are you gonna breastfeed? Like I feel like they just like put him on
The breast.
me and
Yeah.
like, so yeah, like and it's a beautiful thing and it's a natural thing and we're mammals. It's like what we're meant to do. But like I swear to God, I will never forget like this I had a clog and it was like this red circle and it was hot and I was like I didn't feel good and like my son was a gavone like in Italian like he ate like an animal, okay? So
Is that an Italian word?
it totally is. Like it's like not even like real Italian word. Like I'm 100% sure it's like New York
I
Italian. Like
love it.
okay, he ate so much, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But okay, so I get this clog and I'm like, what do I do with this clog? I'm in the shower trying to get it out. And so I call the lactation consultant and she's like, you could have your husband help you. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, like he has a more power. And I'm like, no, 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 no. So that, like, look at your face. See, so I was like,
First of all,
I
it
can't.
hurts. I mean, first and foremost, it hurts.
No, thank you. Then she says to me, you could go on all fours and let gravity do it. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So here I am, I'm on all fours. Okay. And I'm hanging, my kid's under me, I'm like a cow. Jonah walks in and I'm crying and I look at him and I'm like, I am done. I am a complete barn animal. I am done. I literally, this is so not the kosher way to stop breastfeeding. And I don't know what is PC on here now. I think I popped like 8 Sudafed and then left in like the next like 24 hours. And I was like, I am drying this up. I am done.
How did you even know to pop Sudafed? By the way, everything is kosher here. Glatt kosher. Chalav Yisrael, real kosher, everything. Hold on, time out. How did you even know to put Sudafed in the bud to dry that up? I had no idea how to dry it up. Not that I had anything to dry up. If I'm being honest, I made a big deal about drying up little piddles of nothing. Oh my God. There was nothing there, and I was like, should I put some cabbage on it? My boobs were like, we're done, babe. And by we're done, we never even started.
We never started. You never had that journey, so just stop.
You never had that journey, so why are you making a fuss, babe?
Yeah, like stop trying to make fetch happen. Yeah. So I Googled, I was like, what they were like, wean it off and like and I was like, no, it's not.
No.
I'm like, so this dries up the sinuses, maybe it'll dry up the milk.
Are you a doctor?
I'm definitely not, but I'm an expert at Google.
I love it. I feel like that was such an actionable item. If y'all are done breastfeeding, just pop a couple Sudafed and please, and just don't quote me. That's all
I just don't quote me is what we're saying.
Those are the 2 steps.
Quote us.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, step 1 is take the Sudafed. Step 2 is don't quote me.
Don't quote us. 100%.
But you're welcome. You're welcome.
But, yeah, that's funny.
That's great. Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that there's a quick solution, because sometimes it does take a long time, I guess, but maybe it doesn't have to.
For me, it worked. Like, I was just like, I was so done. I was at my wit's end.
And did you enjoy after?
Yeah, I literally got to I got to go back on my medication. Like, I was like, yay. I felt, and the thing is, it's like, that made me realize it's like, if I am not happy and I am not healthy, the whole house, it's going, so
oh my God, it's the whole
you have
thing,
to be, it's the whole thing. Like, you have to be happy and healthy. And that's what I'm going to give to my children, at least try my best.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Yeah,
what does that mean to you if you're being happy and healthy? And like, what do you need to give that to yourself? Does it change? What was that little horse huff?
I mean,
it's so hard. That's why I ask. The reason why I ask, by the way, I'm asking the hard-hitting questions, Courtney.
Yeah,
I'm not here to let this.
You're going in. You're going in.
I'm going in there. You think I waited 15 years to meet you for nothing?
You're the best. So to me, there's a few things. So like, to have my MS under control is super important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, I can't really control, like, I control my MS as best I can, but when you're breastfeeding, when you're pregnant, it's hard because your body's not yours, so, I feel
even without MS. I mean,
even without MS,
you're lending your body. And then after that, even after breastfeeding, you're lending your nervous system to them. 100%. You're lending your calm. You're lending your
all of it.
You're lending yourself. Sometimes I just have to press pause on mothering and go to work. I go to work for me. I go to work so I can be 100%. In my body. Literally.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that's even without MS. I mean, I have my own health stuff, but yeah, you're right.
Super important. You have to have just staying healthy in that regard. And then I'm going to sound incredibly shallow for saying this, but
I want to hear it. Go.
Complete honest to God truth. And I think it comes from being a dancer my whole life. And I think I go to therapy for it.
All right.
But I feel like this is from dancing. I feel like a lot of my confidence and a lot of my happiness comes from my physical self. Yeah. And so I think more the second time I felt it than the first, that that's not good. It's like
Wait,
I have,
Courtney, I'm not going to pathologize that. I'm just going to tell you, I'm not your therapist. I was going to call myself your friend, but we just met, so that would be weird.
no,
But I
you're
am your
fine.
fan,
Yes. Oh
and I
my
am a
God.
person in conversation with you. And I will say, that's not to be pathologized. Like a woman feeling beautiful, feeling like she looks like herself,
Yeah.
particularly
Yeah.
like I witnessed you as a dancer making
Thank
beautiful shapes in order to tell stories, in order to feel your feelings, in order to activate feeling within the audience. Like hundreds of thousands, millions of people were affected by literal shapes you make with your body, with your strength, with your flexibility, with your beauty. There's nothing shameful about that. And I think taking care of yourself and feeling like yourself is not to be pathologized. I think when we over
thank
obsess
you
and
for
it
that.
goes into disordered behavior, that could be a different conversation.
Sure.
But I just want to honor that, like, you're a beautiful woman, and there's no
Thank you.
problem with
I
enjoying that.
appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And that's actually a very nice way to put it because my inner dialogue isn't so kind sometimes. um, and I think, yeah, I guess you're right. It's like, that was my way. That's been my way of expressing myself for so long. Um, and then after Joey, I kind of like I pivoted
Bounce
into
back.
the fitness world, and like I just so it's always been like my physical self, and I also think there's an element of like I can control the physical, like look at myself when like there's just a lot of things on the inside that I can't really control. So I think um yeah, I think have being able to get control of the physical self and making myself feel good that way is important to me. So
Yeah.
I so that postpartum thing where people are like, give yourself grace, you just had a baby. I'm like, shut up. Like, like, and it's like, I want to feel that way, but I don't,
Yeah.
so
I really appreciate you saying it out loud. Just want to say that
yeah,
I think that there's someone on the other end right now hearing you and being like, finally, someone said it like, without it being a big deal. Like, I want to feel strong and beautiful and like I live
yeah,
here.
yeah,
And
right. It's my body.
it's mine. Like, it was yours. I lent it to you for a while, rent
Yeah,
free. But
rent free.
yeah. But like I live here now.
Totally.
And you're used to being strong, you know? You're
Yeah,
used to
and
being like really strong, physically strong. And I do
yeah.
think that like when you're pregnant, there's like a lot of water retention, you're
Oh
off your
God.
medication. It's
I was on
hard.
bed rest. I was on bed rest for 6 weeks in the first trimester. I had something called a subchorionic hematoma. Um, like we did IVF
Mhm.
for my daughter Raquel. With
Mhm.
Joey, we literally we were very lucky. We went to Napa, got very drunk. Jonah was like, "Let's make a baby," and I was like, "Woo!" And then we did. But then for Raquel, it took a minute, um, and I had to go off my medication, and it was just like it was not a happy place, because I felt like I like returned to the place the mental state of like when I was like first diagnosed because I like couldn't I was like damn like this medication really like keeps me in line.
Yeah.
Um, and so my husband, Jonah, was like, why are we doing this? Like, let's try IVF.
Yeah,
And
he's
we
so
did.
practical.
He's, he,
I really love him. Like he's a good guy.
he's a very, in those situations, he's actually, sometimes his like matter of factness could be very jarring. He's like, why, like, let's just do it. Like, we should just like,
But was that
why are you
helpful?
doing this to yourself? Actually, yeah, that was actually very helpful because I was like, you're right, because here I am going in this downward spiral and like not feeling myself. And listen, there's so many people that have such a hard time, and
Yeah.
my heart breaks for them. And like that,
Yeah.
I mean, we tried for like 5 months and it didn't happen. I can't imagine doing that for like a year.
Or
Um,
longer. or
Oh my,
longer.
or longer, or
Yeah.
people who have to do it over and over and over again. It's
Yeah.
like those people are the real soldiers, because IVF is it's really emotional.
Wow.
Um, it's really, takes a toll on your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we did IVF, and it worked, and now we have
Mm.
a beautiful daughter. And
She
but
cute.
it's like I'm like, I want to eat her face. Like
Yeah,
I
just
want
for
to eat her
like a
face,
snack. Because
like a
if
little
it
just a little meatball.
just if you could eat it for a snack and then it'll grow back so you can have a snack in like about 3 hours when you get hungry.
Yeah, she has no neck. Like I
Oh,
like she has no
it's the
neck.
perfect amount of no neck. It's
It's the perfect
really,
amount of no neck. She's a
really,
cutie to
really
me.
cute. But it makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes sense that you would want to feel vibrant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I was just like, because then it's like it wasn't just the 40 weeks. It was like then the before that of like prep, the hormones,
Yeah.
the shots, the
Yeah.
inject, like it was like a pretty like invasive time. And then I'm the last person that should be on bed rest. And then I had to be on bed
Right.
rest
Right.
for 6 weeks. And Joey's like, Mommy, let's play Monster. And I'm like,
Oh my
I
God.
can't.
That's so hard.
And it was horrible.
That
And like,
is really hard. Like, I'm so obsessed with this child and also I can't move. It's so
I
hard to be
couldn't
pregnant and
play.
with a little toddler who
Yeah.
it's really something. So, now that you're on the other end of, well, breastfeeding, right? Because
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
finished,
Yeah.
you're back on your medication. Are you back
hmm
to teaching fitness?
So no, I actually told them I needed to just take a pause until the fall, until Joey
Great,
goes back to school.
great.
'Cause, I just feel like I have to just kind of get my, can I
Bearings.
curse on here? I got to get my shit together. Like I
Yeah.
just am like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like it's like I'm getting used to leaving the house with two kids.
Yes.
Like that's
Courtney,
insane.
it's
That's
insane. No,
it's
like,
insane.
it's insane. Like, 2 people are a lot of people in your care. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, anyway, I'm just validating that, like,
Thank you very
taking
much.
time to get your shit together is
I need a minute.
exactly
Yeah. Yeah. Like
what's
Jonah
on the
loves to
docket.
travel. Jonah
Mhm.
loves to travel and loves to go places and loves to make plans. Like we are a good balance in that way, because I definitely recharge at home and he recharges out in the world. And so, but like packing to go places is like enough to make me just want to stay home.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, well, what if it, you're like, well, what if it rains? Like, well, what if she shits herself? What
I
if,
mean, by what if, you mean she will.
by what if she will shit herself? And by what
Like,
if,
up the butt. It's gonna happen.
and he will pee his pants and
Oh,
then
that's gonna
ask
happen.
me for 17 snacks. And then she will need like a change of clothes. And then like, what if we're stuck there and I need to like give her another bottle?
But also, I need to keep myself together also. Like, I wanna be able
Yeah.
to, like, love them and enjoy them. So I
Yeah.
have to
And not
factor
like
that part in.
yeah, like, and not look like a complete basket case. My pediatrician is literally like the greatest person ever. She looked at like Jonah, and she looked at me, and she was like, "You will forget things.
Mm,
You will leave the house without the bottles, and you will leave the house without the burp coughs,
yeah.
and without like all the things. Like, and you have to be okay with that, because you are completely journeying. You're going into completely new territory."
I love that pep
And
talk.
I needed that pep talk, because at that appointment, she was puking and I didn't have a burp cloth. Like,
That's right.
so
That's
she
exactly
like
right.
looked at me, and she was like, "Do not stress. Like, this
Hmm.
is completely normal."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was super helpful.
Yeah, I like that advice a lot. Like, you're gonna mess up. Actually, it's
Oh,
great advice for the rest of our lives.
for the rest of our lives.
I
And I also
mean,
feel like I have two groups of friends that they're moms, and I actually don't know what I would do without these human beings.
mm,
Like I feel like They are where I complain. They are where we are wildly irrational. They are where we will complain about our husbands. They are where we will like complain about our children. They are where we will be like, oh my God, look how cute our children are and how
That's right.
amazing our children
Right.
are.
Like in the same day where you send like a text where you're like, how did I make this perfect human being? And then
oh
45
yeah,
minutes, you're like, I hate them.
yeah, 100%. Like
And
I
they're
will
like,
be like,
yes, that makes so much sense.
yeah.
Totally.
Like I will literally look at Joey and I will be like, is it 7 p.m. yet? Like in my brain. Like sometimes I had my
Oh, yeah.
mother-in-law laughing. I said to her, I was like, it's 5:30. Like I told him it was 7 and we went up and like we went to bed and like it was that. But then after they go to
That's a
sleep,
genius
I'm like,
move. I just want
yeah,
to highlight that, by the way. I just want to
yeah, he
highlight
doesn't know how to
telling your
read a clock
kid who
yet.
can't tell time that it's
It's
bedtime.
7.
I mean,
It is
if
7.
he ate, just to make sure that he can get through the rest of the night,
Oh,
like, and putting them
100%.
to sleep, or
A
that's a
thousand percent.
genius move. Very
Like,
important.
and
Very
then,
important
but
move.
then come like 8:30, I'm
Very
on the
good.
couch and I'm like, oh, look how cute they were today. Like,
Oh
and I'm
my
like,
God. Sometimes I would actually, there were days like, Ness is 6, so he's a little more independent now. Actually, like those 2 years are big years. And
totally.
so he would go to sleep at 7 and it would be like this big thing because he wouldn't want to go to sleep and blah blah blah. And I would send the text to my friends and I'd be like, he's a monster. The child, just give me a break. I'd be going crazy. And then he would finally fall asleep and I would just stare at him.
Yeah.
Like
I
he
go
was
in
this,
his room every
just
night.
stare at him.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
I
or
totally
I'd
get
look
it.
through pictures and be like, I miss him.
Totally.
He was so cute today.
Meanwhile, he drove you insane 14,000 times. Like,
I know.
yeah.
It really, excuse me. It really is. It really is a roller coaster, and you need those mom friends to just ride that
Totally.
with you. I don't even know. Like, definitely, my husband couldn't relate. Definitely not. Like, there's just no way that he would understand the level of like love and devotion, and also extreme like repulsion at like
Yeah.
within minutes of each other. He would
Yeah.
totally think I was crazy. But a
He,
girlfriend
that makes
group.
me so happy to hear because, like, here's what I can say about Jonah.
We've
Jonah's like,
already established we're fans of Jonah, but
he's the
he's
best.
still the
He's
best,
so
but also a
involved.
person.
He's so, yeah, like he's so involved. He's like an amazing dad. He's not one of those dads that didn't change diapers or didn't, but like there are just things that I just feel like as a mom, like it's like I am the fun police. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I know what you're saying.
I'm like, it's cold. Can you put on like, does he have a jacket? Like
And it's
it's
like,
cold.
and it's like the look back, like, oh, why
He's fine. Like,
yeah,
why do you
he's
have to
fine.
like,
Oh, is he fine? And then he comes back with a cold, and you're like,
and he has
hey,
like booger.
but like, was he
Yeah.
fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and he's also like, Jonah does like these amazing like superhero voices and like these
Yes.
amazing, like he does like all of like, so he's definitely like the fun parent. And I'm like more of like, okay, did he eat? Where we go? Blah, 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 blah. So
You're the mom?
I'm, that's actually, yes, I
Okay,
am the
great.
mom.
Just
Like,
checking. Yeah.
he
You're the
doesn't
mom.
understand. He doesn't understand. Like I lay my head on the pillow at night and I'll be like, was I good enough today? Like, did I like, I feel so guilty because I like raised my voice today, but then like afterwards we were fine. Like, do you think he's going to like remember that for the rest of his life? Like, did I like give enough attention to him and Raquel today? Like, it's like, I'm like,
I love you so much.
like, it's
I've
just
loved
like,
you since So You Think You Can Dance, and I love you even more right now because honestly, we all have that weird dance in our head. And I do think it has a little bit to do with the way we were conditioned as children and as professionals, where we would be ranked. I mean, you were
oh
number
yeah,
4 in that, right? Like you were ranked
yes,
and we were graded. And so we come and we hit the pillow and then we rank and we grade ourselves in parenting, and those rules don't apply. And that's why it's
right,
crazy making, because the truth is we're superimposing a paradigm that just doesn't fit on top of this very fluid, ever-changing spiritual experience.
totally,
And
100%.
like we
I like,
know it. We know it. We're like, wait, of course I'm a good mom, and I did
yeah,
my best giving the attention wherever attention was needed. Like,
Right.
was it equal? Probably not. And is
Right.
life equal? No.
No, not at all. Not at all. I said to Jonah, there's also this level of like anxiety that I feel like uh, is insane being a mom. Like I said to Jonah the other day, I gave Raquel just a little bit of, she's like, Jonah, like I said, Joey ate like an animal, and she's like, "Nah, I'll
Oh
have
my
like
God.
2 ounces
My kids are
here.
exactly like
And then
that.
I'll have like, yeah, like I'll have like an ounce here and then maybe like 3 ounces here." So I said to my, like, I was like, I gave her like a little bit of a tiny, literal, like a tiny teaspoon of the oatmeal in her bottle, whatever. She threw up like all night long. I'm actually not kidding, that there was blood in her throw up. So here I am. I called 911, like a basket case, because I'm like freaking out. And we had this scare with Joey when he was 8 days old. His milk went down the wrong pipe and he couldn't cough it up. So we had a night nurse at the time and she gave him CPR and he was blue on my dining room table. So talk about trauma. I had to call it was like a whole, and so then we get to the hospital and they're like, "Oh, it's, their tracheas are not developed yet. It may have went down the wrong pipe and he didn't have the ability to cough it up yet. Like if water goes down in the wrong pipe and we cough it up, we call it a day." Like they have something it's called a brewy. And they're like, like we see this from time to time. It's a baby respiratory unexplained event. I was like, can we get a warning like 8 days postpartum? So,
Wow.
she was, so she had a little blood in her throw up. So I called 911. I was freaking out again. And like, I was like, I cried. I said to Joe afterwards, I said, and the EMTs they were so amazing. They were like, "Listen, you did the right thing. Like, it's all good. You're better safe than sorry." And I got back in bed and I was literally like, it is so terrifying to me. It's amazing, but it
Mhm.
is so terrifying to me to love
I
two
know.
small little humans as much as I like this much. It's insane. It's like such a crazy feeling. It really is.
It really is. I really I'm just validating that experience that I have it too. It's most intense right in the beginning
Yeah,
because they're
sure.
so little. They can't even
Yeah.
they can't even fucking keep their heads up.
No,
Okay?
right.
Like pick your head up, babe. They can't
Yeah.
do it. Like it
Yeah.
really is such an intense experience to be the steward of their life, to
Yeah.
literally keep them alive. And that
Yeah.
hypervigilance, that feeling of like, it's all on me. It's not all on you, and it's not all on
No,
me. We have a community, but like they
you're
came they
still the
they came
mom.
of
They
us. You're the
came from your
mom.
body. Yeah, like it does.
Yeah.
And I think I have come into that a little bit more. Like, the whole saying, like, it takes a village. It's like that saying did come from somewhere, and like
Yeah.
it is really important to have like a good circle around you and people who love you and want to help. But I also feel like you are the mom and you are these are your children, and you ultimately, like, what's best for them. And
Yes.
that's always my advice, like, to my friends who are having kids. Like, I have an email that goes out. I'm like immediately with like my favorite mom products and why. And like people
Wow.
will be like, "Oh yeah," like they'll be like, "You need, like, on those checklists, it's like get like 5 burp cloths." I'm like, "Don't get 5 burp cloths. Get like 40 burp cloths and have them in every nook and cranny of your whole house."
I
Because,
love it.
but then the other thing is, like, ask for help when you
Yes.
need it, but just know that, like, your intuition is your intuition and that baby came from you, and trust that.
Hmm. It's so important. It's
Yeah.
so, so, so important. I didn't want to let the hour go by without asking you about your MS and your advocacy around
Sure.
multiple sclerosis. Can you tell us what it is actually? Would you mind going
So,
that far
sure.
back?
Yeah. So multiple sclerosis is a chronic neurological autoimmune disease. Basically, you have this sheath over your nerves called myelin. and it kind of helps. Basically, it's like, it's getting messages from your brain to the rest of your body. And when that sheath starts to disintegrate, they call it demyelinate. Basically, it's the interruption of the messages from your brain to the rest of your body. So you, and there are three different kinds. My grandmother had primary progressive multiple sclerosis. She couldn't walk. She had a tremor. She was the greatest person on the face of the earth. Like,
Can
she
you
had
tell
the
me a
best
little bit?
attitude about it. Oh yeah. She was amazing. She was like, she was super old school Italian. Like, she was like, I'm not taking any medicine. I don't need, she was like, if you had like a cold, like have like chicken soup, or like, she was like that kind of grandma.
Yeah.
But she just was always positive and always giggling and always laughing, but it was a little scary. Like, so I was diagnosed actually when I was on the season 7, So You Think You Could Dance tour.
Yeah.
I lost feeling from the waist down. I thought I hurt my back. I called my doctor and I was like, I've been like looking up like pinched nerves, and it's kind of like a crossover with some of the symptoms with multiple sclerosis. And they were like, you're on multiple sclerosis. Yeah, but they don't know whether it's genetic or environmental. They don't know, like I said, I'm no doctor, but if I had to put a pin in it, if I feel like we have these predispositions in our body and then something in the environment, I personally feel this, like I said, don't quote me on it.
Except
sets
so
it
far,
off.
so good.
Like,
I mean,
yeah. So I basically, I was numb from the waist down. And so after the tour, I didn't want to get taken off the tour or benched or anything. Like, I didn't want to stop dancing, and I could do it. It just, my legs were numb.
You could still dance with your legs numb?
It literally felt, do you know how I describe it? Do you know when you're cooking chicken and that like dense feeling of like the raw chicken?
Yeah.
Like, that's how my legs felt to me.
Wow.
It was so weird.
But you
like,
could still do the choreography?
yeah, I did it.
Courtney Platt.
I don't know how. My neurologist said to me, I am unsure how you did it. But what that says to me is that like your mental state is like so much stronger than your physical state. Like, it is really important to maintain a strong mental state of mind. And so,
and dance, does dance help with that? I mean, I know that like dancers have to get to the bar every day, and that work
for sure,
ethic is
the work ethic is crazy. I think dancers have the craziest work ethic of all time. Like, my favorite Kobe Bryant interview is where he's like, no, dancers are the greatest athletes ever. Like, they are like, it's like, you guys amaze me. And I agree with him.
I agree.
But yeah, I basically, like, when I was diagnosed, I said to my neurologist, like, what the hell does this mean? Like, I just started my dance career. And she was like, don't ever stop. She was like, keep moving, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, because like, what better way to fight back than to keep moving. So, so I thought that was like great advice. I love talking. I really didn't know young people with multiple sclerosis. I just knew my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
So getting involved in the MS community was really amazing, and getting to meet people who were like me and who were young and with MS. And so I really try to make a point to, I would say like every other week I had somebody reach out to me and they're like, my cousin's daughter was just diagnosed with MS, or, so-and-so that I know, my friend, this and that, can I give them your number? And I'm like, hell yeah. Because I wish when I was diagnosed, I had somebody to look at that was like physically strong, like kept doing what they were doing. It's a new normal. It's a new normal, and it sucks. You have bad days, you have good days. There are days where I'm like, there are days where I'm just like, I gotta stay in bed, like, or I gotta go to sleep, or like, there are days where like cognitively, like you wouldn't see it from the outside, but I am like out to lunch. And so there are things, but it's like, I just kind of chalk it up to like, nobody gets out of life unscathed. It's just the way it is. What's going to be interesting is like, I wonder how I'm going to share that with my kids. Do you know what I mean? Like I worried about like dating with it and like finding my, like I said to Jonah, like I was like, I have MS and I don't know what the future is going to bring. You might have to put my pants on 40 years from now. I don't know.
Lucky him.
He was,
I'm just saying.
he was so amazing about it. Like
Yeah.
I remember waking up one morning and he was like reading like books about it. And it was like this book that was like this thick. And I'm like, and he reads books like that. I don't. I'm like, I read like murder. If I like it's like documentaries on like,
murder mysteries,
biographies on like trash humans and like murder mysteries. Yeah. Like, so, but he was just like, you're never going to read this. So I'm highlighting like the best things for you to read. And I just was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. So it's like, I guess it'll just be, yeah, he's pretty awesome. And marriage is hard too. Like marriage is insane. Marriage is so hard. It's like, and trying to juggle it with like 2 kids and
what? It's crazy.
And then like Jonah's like, when are we going to go out on a date? I'm like, I don't know. Cause come 7:30, I want to go to bed.
That's exactly
so it's like, it's really hard. It's really hard.
And you're only 5 months postpartum. And I thought that was a really smart, if I may, since we're friends now.
Yeah, we are friends.
Great. I'm so glad. I just thought it was just such a smart move for you to say like, I'll be back in the fall and I'm going to get my shit together. And like, first things first, like getting acclimated with a whole other human in your home, getting your mind and body back. And then the marriage stuff comes, the intimacy, the date night, the vitality enough to get through a dinner until 9:00 at night. You crazy?
We go to therapy every now and then. We should go more often, but like I think because it's just like we definitely lose ourselves in the day to day.
Yeah.
And it's like the day to day, like I personally feel, like I said, don't call me on this. I think kids
wait, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put big old quotes. And it's just going to be an infographic. Take Sudafed, 5 or 6. Call me in the morning. You'll stop breastfeeding just fine. Courtney Platt.
I mean, it worked for me.
I mean, really.
It worked for me.
Yeah.
But, like,
okay, Doc. Like, tell us more.
Yeah. Like kids, like I think kids need routine. Like I think specifically my son needs routine. I think he gets a little cray-cray when there's not a routine. And I think they find like comfort in routine. So, but I think like with Jonah and I, it's like, we didn't pick careers that have a strict routine. And so I do think it's hard. You like lose yourself, you get comfortable and you lose yourself and you're tired and like, they're like these little people take priority. And so you just have to work really hard to get back to
therapy's the best. And also, yes, therapy is so important, and you do have to work hard to get back to where you were or where you're going.
Yeah,
because you're in the middle of like a metamorphosis. They say when a child is born, a mother is born. I believe that for fathers as well, who allow that rebirth to happen. I see that with my husband. He's, and so you're meeting a whole new person sleeping next to you who you've known for the past 10 years, who you love, but the whole world has changed twice over in the past 4 years. So, I mean, I think it's all normal. And I think that's why we say it out loud, right? That's why we say it on a podcast. It's like for the person who is hearing us on the other end to know that's normal.
Yeah.
To know that, like, just in terms of like your MS, like to know that there is a woman out there who is not only dancing beautifully. I mean, you even went on to do acting work on stage, in film and TV, having 2 children, falling in love, being an advocate yourself, starting a new career, just knowing that there is a human being like you on this earth for someone.
Very nice of you. Thank you.
Well, what if there's someone who's 23 and listening in and she was just diagnosed with MS? Like, just knowing that you exist is hugely helpful. That's why we say these things out loud around marriage and around, it's a lot to have 2 kids. Like
Yeah.
the fact that
Yeah.
like we're pretending, like sometimes I look out into like the street and I'm like, all these people have a mother.
Yeah.
Their relationship to mother, I don't know. Their
No, but
relationship,
like you came from somewhere.
I mean, it really is astonishing. And we're
Yeah,
just like walking around like no big
totally.
deal.
Totally. That's why when people like trash women, like are like and treat people like women less than, like, I mean, I I think it's insane. I'm like, where do you think you came from, dude? Like
Literally.
literally. Like
Yeah.
you came out of someone's hoo-ha. Let's not trash that situation because you're the reason why they're breathing oxygen. So let's not do that.
I totally agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's been nice getting to know you, Doc.
Well, honestly, I've been watching Grey's Anatomy. Like
Mm.
I'm finally, like, I've been binge watching it, so like I'm kind of going to medical school.
So
Like I feel like,
they basically I spent
yeah,
hours and hours
yeah,
learning about being a doctor. And we really are reaping the benefits. You're all welcome, friends. You're all very welcome.
well,
Courtney Platt, where can we find you? Maybe, maybe people will hit you up with a
sure,
thanks for this, I'm sure. And
very nice.
yeah, and a big
At
thank you from
Courtney
me.
and Platt. Oh my God, I'm so happy we like connected. Before you guys got um went to on that Israel trip together, I like was like I saw the list of names and I was looking at it. I was like, oh my God, she looks awesome.
Yay.
And like you're just like a badass mama.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Of
You're
course.
a badass mama.
Thank you very much.
Courtney and Platt on
Hmm.
Instagram. And then
Hmm.
and when you do go back to teaching in the fall, where do you teach?
So I teach at a place called Studio Climber
Hmm.
in West Hollywood. And even if I'm not there, it is an amazing, it's literally the greatest workout of all time. It is a vertical climbing class. It is hardcore. You could burn 600 calories in 30 minutes.
What?
It is, oh yeah, it's super hardcore. But it's fun. It's to music. Like that's what I loved about it. I felt like I was performing and to the beat of the music, and it's pretty awesome. I definitely suggest getting in there and trying it. So
Cool. Well, next time
yeah,
I go to LA. And in the meantime, I cannot wait to see your unfolding in this
oh,
process. You are so
thank you
in
very
the
much.
thick of this metamorphosis, and you
Thank
have
you.
like proven time and time again that you have made art of your life, really.
Thanks.
From the many years that I've been a fan of yours.
That's very nice. Thank you very much. I'm so glad you watched. It was an amazing experience for sure.
You did such a beautiful job there and ever since. So
Thank you.
thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for talking to me.
All right, bye friends. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you, as always, for listening to the Mom Curious podcast. My name is Danielle Rabbani. I am your host, and I would love to continue this conversation at Daniela Rabbani on Instagram. And if you'd be so kind to rate and review, share this podcast, I would be just really grateful. Catch you next time, every Tuesday on the Mom Curious podcast, produced by Hoff Studios. You can find them at Hoff Studios on Instagram as well. All right, have a great day.